In this video, we'll be looking at how to create a mobile application project using Flex. So first of all, you want to open up the development environment Flash Builder, and you'll be able to find that under the Adobe programs. So it's Flash Builder that you're looking for. And once you get that opened up, just go to File, New, and then you can see there's lots of different projects you can create up here. So you can create a Flex project, which will allow you to create a desktop application. You can create a Flash professional project in the same way as you can using Flash and ActionScript. Or the one that we're going to work with today is a Flex mobile project. So if you just select Flex mobile project, and we're going to give this project a name, and we're going to call it Cinema App, because we're going to create a basic cinema application using Flex. Make sure that the folder is set to a sensible folder. So I've got it in one of my teaching folders on my C drive called for this module CMO575. And I've just put it under training. It should probably be under lecture material, but anyhow. And then in Adobe Air. And if I click on OK and click Next, it'll create a folder on my C drive called Cinema App. And notice that because we're creating a mobile Air project, it's saying we can either create it for the Apple or the Android or both. But I just want to create it for the Android for this example. And there's three different templates that we're being given here. We've got the blank template, which will just allow you to add elements to a blank screen. A view-based application, and this is the one that I'm going to work with today, and this allows you to basically navigate from screen to screen. Or you can have a tab application which works similarly to the view-based, but we use tabs instead of creating the navigation from screen to screen, if you like. This is running slow with the Camtasia recording software. Click on Next. I was going to see if I could change the permissions there. See if it'll let us go back and change any permissions. No, it won't let us change the permissions of platform settings. Click on Next. We're not doing anything with the server at the minute. We're just going to create a flat application that runs from a mobile. We'll actually just be running it from where PCs or laptops as we go along. I'll show you how to install it on a mobile in a later workshop, basically, in a later video. So if we click on Next. Okay, this is just setting up the path for where the library files live. So things like we're going to use the Flex library, which allows us to have, and the Spark library actually, which allows us to use things like buttons and labels and lists and images. So this is just saying, well, where do those libraries live? Well, they're automatically set up by default when you install the software. Down here we can see that our main source folder is going to be SRC. This is going to be the folder that contains the default package with the files in that run when the application runs. The main application file is cinema-app.mxml. It's going to create that file for us when we create the project, and that's going to be the first file that's run when the application is run. And finally, the application ID is cinema app. Basically, that's what it's going to be called. So if we just click Finish, and then we can see that it's created a whole new package for us over here, a whole new project. Within the source folder in the default package, it's created this cinema-app.mxml file for us. And this is the file here. So the MXML files are the files that we work with to develop the project, basically, to develop the application. And as the extension has XML in it, and also we refer to XML up here. And what that means is that basically XML is a markup language, and that markup language is recognized by the device or the browser that the project is run on. So by saying that this is written in XML, the parser will know on the device which things to interpret as XML, as an XML language. Also, so that's basically what it is. It's an XML markup language. That's what the Flex programming language is. So this is it here. This is your markup. Well, this is the start of the markup. This is the markup for the application file. That's the first file that's run when the application is run. And we know that this is the application file because it sits in the default package folder, but also because it's got this element view navigator application. And this is a Spark component. And Spark is one of the libraries that we're going to use to develop the Flex project with. So you've got your Flex library and you've got your Spark library, and they contain all the elements that you need to be able to create things like user interface components such as buttons, labels, grids, lists. They also allow you to work with things like variables, strings, booleans, integers, etc., etc. If you didn't have a reference to these libraries, then you couldn't use any of the elements within there, basically. So anything that's prefixed with an S comes from the Spark library, and anything that's prefixed with an FX comes from the Flex library. And we're not allowed to use them because we'll reference those namespaces within here. So if you try to put these in and you start getting errors, it's because you haven't referenced the library. Let's just cut that out there and see now how I get this error message here. And if I have a look down the bottom and I look at the problems area, it's saying that the prefix for FX is not bound. It doesn't understand what FX is. So if I just pop that back in there and save that, we can see we lose that error. So now it knows that FX, it comes from this namespace which sits in this URL here. Okay, and it's the same for the Spark library. If we move over to this attribute here, this is the first view attribute. This is telling the compiler which view to show when the application starts up. All of the views sit in this views package here, and we can see that the first view in here is Cinema App Home View. So here we're looking at views, Cinema App Home View. We can also see that the application display pixels per inch is 160 pixels per inch over here, and you can change that if you were developing for a different size screen, like different pixels per inch. Here we have the FX declarations element. This allows us to create things like variables and properties and things. We're not using that for this video, so we'll just ignore that for a minute. So the first view that's going to be run is the Cinema App Home View. Well, what's going on in the Cinema App Home View? We can see that this is slightly different. So this is a View Navigator application file, and this is the view file. And this will just basically act as a screen on your application, or a page if you like. This particular view is called the home view, so it's your home page. So this is going to be what's displayed at the top of the screen when we run this particular file. Down here we've got a group, and what the group allows us to do is to group certain elements on the page together. So I've added this group in here. Let's just delete it and start again. So if I do a SV group and add that group and we'll set the width of it to be 100%. So it takes up the entire screen basically. Sorry, a train just went past. And the height is going to be 100%. So again, it will take up the full screen. And I want to center anything within this group in the middle of my screen basically. So I'm going to set the vertical align to equal the middle. And I'm going to set the horizontal align to equal the center. Okay, so that's my group set up. And within that group, I'm going to create an S label. So notice how I'm using the S prefix. That means that I'm going to use a label component from the Sparks component library. And I'm going to give it the text. Hello world. Okay, and I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to run it. And I'm going to run it using the debugger. So you can either just run it in normal mode, or you can run it using the debugger. And the debugger allows you to set breakpoints, trace out view, like tracing out elements or tracing out variables or values. And also it's much better to use the debug view for being able to kind of really see what the program's doing, test variable values, and help to overcome problems in your code or bugs in your code. So we'll click on the little bug for the debug option. So this is my debug configuration dialog, and basically it's saying that it's going to run the Cinema app. This is the default file that it's going to run when the application runs, which is my default file up here. I've set the target platform to be Google Android. The launch method I'm going to use is the on-air simulator. I'll show you how to run it on a device in a different video, but for now we're just going to run it on the air simulator. The device that we're going to simulate, so we're building it as if it's going to run on a device, and the device that we're going to simulate for this example is a Samsung Galaxy Ace. Okay, and I'd like to clear the application data on each launch because I don't want any old data to be hanging around in the background. So I'll click debug, and here you can see title here and hello world here, and that's basically your first sort of project setup. So just close that down. I'm going to change this to welcome to the Cinema app, and I'm going to save that, and again I'm going to run it in debug because it's good practice to get you running it like that. So now you can see how to change the title and also how to add some text to your app. So over to you now. Go and try and create a new project in Flash Builder.